Not everybody studies pediatric medicine. Nobody usually thinks about neurology. And similar with psychology, nobody really thinks and considers choices about stimulation and reward and behavior and observation and self and ego and mind and all of the information they are requiring from a human. With social benefits, and not very much flexibility. When confronted by problems with those who don't want health, who live in a room and not an apartment and a studio. And all of the misdirection and confusion they cause. For someone who lives in an apartment studio, in an apartment building, using time as a benefit and not a source of hallucination, ritual, and stimulation especially. Within these last few videos, what's most apparent has to do with those who restrict and limit and control, and then those who harass and bully. A victim, unfortunately, receives abuse and suffering. And then those men who are so strong and powerful and wise and considered elders in a community where they provide services to the women and those who aren't as accomplished as they are now. And when a mental health organization and professionals and psychologists and psychiatrists and social workers and counselors ignore these conditions, they are participating in a less beneficial system with processes not controlled by a patient with feedback and information provided. Instead of going to a treatment center, as an example, renting textbooks on Amazon and learning about social etiquette, neuroscience. Why a brain has emotion, thought, thinking, and most troublesome for most people, bothersome. There's a real deep, dark, and nasty problem within mental health, involving those patients supported by those doctors and those professionals who meet their standards, who, when a person says to them who they are and where they come from, and then have disagreement about validity of a story and a narrative much different than decision making about drugs and negativity about an object floating in outer space. Having a maze for all these humans to move around, do stuff, and then a room for some folks, a cage for others, and for only a few, an apartment studio to rest for a continuance of a process in a system with more power, more accreditation than an explanation about a brain and body much different than a mind and social etiquette requirements, standards, self and ego and feelings about an emotion described these days on Capitol Hill in Seattle are never different and have only novelty from food I cook in my kitchen, movies I watch on Amazon, and repetitive honking noises from cars, men saying, "Let's go outside," women declaring eviction notices, and those who suffer silent and quiet and hidden. From brilliant genius eyes, always watching, always hearing and observing. Now, the end.